Hello, everybody. I've decided today to talk about a topic that is very important to me, the field. I hope I get you to understand what the field means to me, why maybe you should rethink the way you understand or you define the field, why it is important, and how you should do it. You know, I really love playing video games. I grew up playing video games with my cousins, and my favorite game system to play was the Nintendo. I played the Nintendo 64, the Nintendo GameCube, the Nintendo Wii U, and the latest, the Nintendo Switch. And one of my favorite games to play on the Nintendo system is the Legend of Zelda. For those of you who do not know what the Legend of Zelda is, it's an adventure game series where we have two heroes, Link and Princess Zelda, and they have to fight this bad guy named Ganon to protect the magical land of Hyrule. And to do that, in the latest installment of the game, there's many challenges. So Link, for example, has to go under the cave in his village to pinpoint the location of a strange voice that villagers have been hearing for days. While he does that, he comes across a treasure chest. Another challenge that Link has to face is something maybe simple: return the horse to a stable in the neighboring village. And while he does that, he meets people that actually give him other quests to do. And as you play the game further, he has to go to an area called Death Mountains, where he might even have to face a dragon to protect a town called Goron City. I'm not going to take a lot of time to talk about the purpose of the game, but if I'm talking about this, you're probably wondering, what's the link with the field? Why is he talking about it? And it's very simple. When Link was going under this cave in his village to pinpoint the location of his voice, he was going into the field. When he was going to the stable in the neighboring village to return the horse, he was going to the field. When he went to Death Mountain to face this dragon, what was he doing? He was going to the field. After, using all this example, I want to use a certain definition of the field, a better definition of the field. I want us to think of the field as any unfamiliar place, any place that is different from our daily work environment, where we need to go as part of our job. And as I'm saying this, simply put, going to the field then would mean that you leave this place where you go every day, maybe from Monday to Friday, from 9 to 5, to go somewhere else to do an activity that is linked to your work. So me, for example, here in Geneva, when I leave my office in Grand Saconnet to go to a meeting at the Palais des Nations, I'm going to the field. When I leave again my desk to go administer a survey in the streets of Geneva, I'm going to the field. When I get on the plane to go hundreds of kilometers or thousands of kilometers away from here, I'm going to the field. And this is something that is very important, and we need to keep that in mind. And I chose to not give specific names of location for a reason. I remember years ago when I completed my master's degree and I was applying for jobs, I remember very well one interview where when it was the turn of the panelist to ask me a question, he reminded me that for this job I was required to go to the field and to talk about my experience working in Burkina Faso. I was very confused. Burkina Faso is home to me. It's not the field. So I said that to him. I can talk to you about my experience in Burkina Faso, but Burkina Faso is home. It's not the field. But while I was doing this work, I had to go to different places in Burkina Faso to do my mission. I'm happy to talk to you about my experience in these different places, but not just about the experience in Burkina Faso, because it is home to me. It's not the field. I'm saying this because it's very important. It's something that we need to keep in mind. People have a tendency, when they talk about going to the field, to think of the global south, to think of developing countries, to think of what we call sometimes challenging operating environment. But it's not just that. It's not that simple. What is the field to you is home to someone else. So you need to keep that in mind. I'm just going to leave it there because I want this to start a thinking process, maybe, to have you rethink your understanding of the field, to wonder if you had this understanding of the field as the global south or a developing country, or if you had this understanding of the field as being any places where you could go to learn something new, any places that was unfamiliar to you, and that later might even become a place that you would call home. And I'm saying this because in my job, I've been to so many places that I was unfamiliar with at first, that now every time I go for work, I'm like, it's so nice to be here again. So keep that in mind. The next time you have to go on a mission, see if it makes sense to call this place the field. Now that I've talked a little bit about what maybe the field should be, what's my understanding of the field, I want to tell you why it's important to do it and what you can gain from it. I've been working in my organization for about 8 years now. I remember the first time I had to go on a mission, I was extremely nervous because I didn't know what to expect. But when I came back from this first mission, I was extremely happy because I learned a lot. I met some people with a different perspective, with expertise that they were willing to share to me. I came back with a lot of energy. Another thing that is good about going to the field is that it reminds you of the importance of your work. You might be based in the headquarters here in Geneva, not really understanding what's the point of being behind your computer, just typing away the day, being frustrated because some IT things are not working. But going to the field is going to remind you of the importance of this work. And here I'm going to take an example. 2 years ago, for work, I had the privilege and the opportunity to go to Malawi. And again, at the beginning, I mentioned that I worked in global health, and my organization worked in the response to HIV. So as part of this mission, I went to visit a community, and we were in the main square of that village, and the chief of village were there, and along with them, there were about 20, 30 young women. And on the lap of every single one of these women, there were babies or toddler. The thing is that every single one of these women was HIV positive, and all the children that were there with them were born HIV negative because they were able to benefit from the work that the organization was doing with them. And when I got to witness that firsthand, I was just, wow. I understand now the job that I'm doing. I see the impact that it has. The next time I go back to Geneva and I'm frustrated because of some technical things not working at work, of process taking long for money to go out, this is why I'm doing that. For those people that I'm working with, for those people that I'm working for. So we need to keep that in mind. It's very important. Another thing that working in the field taught me is set boundaries. I'm now able, without any problem, to prioritize myself and say no to people when I've traveled too much and I come back home and I just want some time for myself to research, to regenerate, and just be able to breathe before resuming work. It's very important for the work-life balance. So before I end, I'm just going to remind you of one thing. It's true that when you go to the field, we're supposed to be expert, but we are also student, because we're going to learn. The people that we're going to work with are expert in their field as well, and they're even more knowledgeable of the context that we are. So we have to be ready to learn from them. We have to be happy to be challenged. We need to do that with respect. We need to do that with humility. And one thing, we just have to enjoy the experience. Thank you.